Hello peeps, fantastic weather today, meant to be getting up to around 30 degrees C over the next few weeks, which I believe is about 86 degrees Fahrenheit, so a heat wave is on the way allegedly, but we'll see. Could do with a bit more rain, but kind of everything, and I dare say that will be here before long. So what are we doing today? Well, we're going to set into these containers here, and got some interesting things to set, and I may even plant out these geraniums I've grown from seed, but we'll see. I've been talking about setting these out for a while now, but I might finally get round to it today. So let's have a look at what we're going to be setting. So from Mr. Fothergills we have Kale, Nero di Toscana, and if you've been following my channel for a while you will know just how fond I am of kale, one of the great things to grow, and perpetual rather, spinach leaf beet, and this is from Carter's Seeds. So there we go, and I've got something in my hand here, and I'll let you guess what they could be, but all will be revealed later on, and hopefully these will become an addition to Dan's, what do I call it, Dan's tropical polytons. So there we go. So as you know, I think quite highly about container growing, because I think it opens up gardening to many people that otherwise wouldn't do it because they haven't got any space. And think of a container like this. Even if you had no garden and just had a windowsill, this would probably fit on your windowsill. And the good thing about containers like these is quite often people give them away for free. They want to chuck them basically. You know, they go down the shop and buy them, and they decide they don't want them at a later date, or they look dirty or something like that. So there you go. So let's have a look at these containers. Not too bad. And what I've done is I made sure I drilled some holes in the bottom. If you don't have a hand drill, you know, you could use some sort of screwdriver and a hammer, whatever really, just to get your holes. You want your drainage holes so that water doesn't build up in them. So what I'm going to do is, in here I've got some straightforward multi-purpose compost which I got from Homebase. It's the is it J. Arthur Bowers one, and I've got several reasons that I use this. I've had good results with this before. It's not too expensive, so people on a tighter budget can use this. It's easily available, and at the moment, or in general, I do like to support Homebase because they're coming under a bit of trouble at the moment, and you know, people that work their jobs, etc., etc., whether they work on the shop floor or whether they're higher up in management, it's nice to try and support people to retain their employment. So that's one reason why I'm purchasing Homebase compost. So what I'm going to do is fill this up here, and when I work I like to have everything all to hand, nicely organised, and I put my compost in one of these 30-litre containers which actually have multi-use. If you followed my channel for a while you'll know that I use these for many things, from growing dwarf trees in to collecting horse manure in, so very good investment if you can get hold of some of these. So what I do is I'm simply going to put this compost in these containers, and once you get your head round it, you'd be very surprised what you can grow in containers, because you know, in the modern world many people don't have big gardens and they don't have a lot of time, don't have a lot of space, and they're on a tighter budget, but yet they still want to partake in the great pastime. It's not even a pastime really, is it? A great hobby, a great enterprise, whatever you want to call it, of growing your own food. And container growing can enable many to do it who otherwise would not be able to, even if it's, as I stated earlier, just one of these on your kitchen windowsill. So what we are going to do is fill that up like that, nicely, just what we want. Okay, so take a look at that. So got the compost in there like that, put it on there, and I'm going to fill up this one as well. Now there are different composts you can use. You can actually purchase vegetable compost, which is very good. I've used this before. It's got a bit more organic matter in it, it's heavier, it retains moisture better, it retains its nutrients for far longer. So if you can afford that, that's a very good one to get vegetable compost, or you can make your own, compost your own stuff. You can get your own horse manure, making your own growing mediums. I've got many videos on that, but today this is a very simple, bog standard way of growing something if you have got the minimal of time, minimal of equipment, and the minimal of space. So that's why we are using these. And even better, if you've got it on your kitchen windowsill, you're right next door probably to your water source from your tap. So that's another advantage as well. There we go. Fill that up. Nice, full like that. So, what are we going to grow first? What should we set first? We'll go for the kale. So let's have a look-see at what we've got here. I mean, 400 seeds here, and that cost a minimum of £1.75. So you can see just how cost effective it is to grow something like kale. Let's have a look. Did I cut enough off? No, I didn't. Take a bit more off. Right. Aha. So we're in a little pack here. Right, let's have a look. Have to forgive this black stuff on my hands. It's conifer tree sap. You can see them seeds there, look. That's what they look like. And what I'm going to simply do is, starting with this one here, I'm going to do a little figure. In fact, what I'm going to do, to be extra clever, is I'm going to bring the camera closer. There you go, that's better. So hopefully you could see a lot clearer what I'm doing here. So I'm going to get my kale again, and I'm not going to be too specific because the purpose of this is not to frighten anybody off. It's to literally get stuff growing. So what I'm going to do is put them about 6 inches apart. And even if I drop a couple in one space, it doesn't really matter. Just going to scatter them in like that, look. Informal gardening by Dan. That's one way I like to, because you know there's many different traditional ways that you can grow things, but sometimes it's cool to just do your own thing, isn't it? And what I'm going to do now is just get a little bit of compost and put it on the top like so. So I shouldn't whistle. Did a rather piercing whistle on a video a few videos ago. It didn't go down too well. Right, so what are we going to do next? So that's the kale. Make sure you proceed to put them back like that, because if they fall over, the seeds will go everywhere. Okay, now let's do the perpetual spinach leaf beet. There we go. I do find these seeds fascinating. Spinach. There we go. See what they look like? So all you do is these, once again, Informal Gardening by Dan. I'm going to chuck them in. Not too thick, because of course each plant will require nutrients and it will require water. There you go, so the seeds are set. So what I'm going to do with these is put them in the polytunnel. This should help aid with quicker germination. The fact that I know I've got the luxury of a polytunnel and not everybody has, or a greenhouse, but at this time of year, as long as nothing's going to eat your seeds, you could just put these on the ground or on a bench or something outside and the seeds will germinate. Or if you wanted, you could put them straight on your windowsill if that's the only space you've got. But for this situation, they are going to go on there in the polytunnel. So on the shelf here, one there and one here. Right, now I'm going to get my watering can. Now, at the risk of telling people how to suck eggs, make sure you water your plants like that. This isn't the best watering can actually, it's just one I got kicking about. Another one that's cracked down here and can't really use it anymore. It's okay, it'll do the job. Now get some water on them like that, because at this time of year, particularly in the polytunnel and probably on a windowsill, you know, it's going to dry up pretty quick. So I want to get some nice water on them like this. If you want success, that is. So there we go. So we've got kale and we've got Swiss chard, and probably within 10 days or so they will have germinated. So this is a good way to grow plants in containers. You could grow radishes like this, you could grow carrots like this, you can grow certain lettuces like this. Do your research, but there's so much that you can grow like this. I've grown all sorts in pots like this over the years, and it really is worth investing the time in researching it. I think I even grew parsnips like this in some containers one year, beetroot as well, tomatoes. Don't let it stop you if you don't have space. If you just got room for 2 of these containers and a windowsill, and some compost and some water and the seeds and the sunlight, you can do it. Give it a go. Right, so the mystery seeds to help contribute to Dan's exotic effect in the exotic polytunnel, which is incredibly hot in there at the moment. God, good grief. Let's see if anyone guessed. Well, what these are, see if I can come behind. What do you think they are? They are papaya seeds, and fast growing. So let's give it a go. So, how many should we grow? Let's grow a fair few, shall we? fill up these. Once again, when people buy plants, there was geraniums in these. People quite often want to get rid of the pots, and they'll say, oh, I don't want them. They're a nuisance. They're in the way. Oh, they're ugly. Well, it's all about recycling nowadays, isn't it? So you can turn around and you can go, oh, I'll have them. And I'll go, whatever do you want them for? And you say, to grow things in. Oh, there we go. I reckon we'll get 5 out of this. 5 will be enough. 5 will be enough. Methinks. See how much easier it is getting out of these pots like this than it is getting it from straight out the bag. Ideally, don't get on your chair, but you can't have everything, can you? Fill up a bit more, take a bit more out. Right, let's set some papaya seeds. Just going to check this camera's rolling, so I'm not talking to myself. Yeah, that's rolling. Just going to pause now for my thumbnail. There we go. Simply pop them in. And we'll bring the camera closer for the last one. There we go. You see what I'm doing now? So what I've done, each one, simply just put the little seed in, like so. So 5 of these, and what I'm going to proceed to do is just to push down, push them in, push them in, push them in, and push them in like that. So there's my papaya seeds. Of course, papaya is generally classed as a tropical fruit, so all being well, it'll go well with a mango. 3 guesses where they're going to go. Can really smell the fruitiness of the peaches now growing in here. Look at that crest look. Just a sort of afterthought really. Bit of crest. Right. So what we've got going on here. So we're going to move these into the polytunnel. Spoke a lot before about using heat as a catalyst to help things grow. I'll put them on like that. And once again, 3 guesses what you must do. They need the water. So keep them nicely watered. Yeah, some very kind person gave me these papaya seeds. And then get a bit more water on these kale and spinach seeds. So there you go, a little bit of container growing today for a bit of variety and inspiration, if you want to call it that, for a bit of straightforward container growing. Okay, so next up is potting up the geraniums. Now, variety, I forget these things. Geranium Maverick Quicksilver F1, Latin Zonal Pelargonium, and these are from Mr. Fothergills, and managed to get these to germinate. I grew them in these windowsill propagators, and what they have, I'll just show you. This is an empty one. So you put your compost in there like that, in your cells, and then you put your seeds in, and then that goes over the top like that, and that just adds, as you know, helps with the incubation, so to speak, adding a little bit of heat. And when I started these off earlier in the year, wasn't particularly warm, so they do appreciate that. Another option you can do if you haven't got any of them to germinate geranium seeds is you can just grow them in a pot like this, and you can put your seed, so you put your compost in like so, and you put your seed in, and then over the top, so you leave a little bit of a gap, you can put some cling film, which adds for a little bit of, you know, extra heat, so to speak. So you can do that as well. But I was very happy with how these sort of turned out, really. And what you want to do, again, I'm going to use the same procedure, the same policy. Very simple, straightforward. Container, again like that. And what you do, just proceed to fill it up like so. Once again, make sure you've got your drainage holes at the bottom. As my channel progresses, I intend to grow all sorts. Dabbled with a few flowers this year, but still the main focus has been on growing fruit and veg, and it probably always will be on this channel. But I am very much enjoying getting into the flower growing. It's finding it quite new to get my teeth into, and it's something that you know, I don't know a massive amount about, so I'm learning as well as many of you. So yeah, we can all learn together and help each other, can't we? So that's our compost there, like that. It's hard to see because the sun is so bright at present, but I'm not complaining. So what we're going to do is put our tray on here, and we're going to proceed to set our geraniums into that pot. Let's have a look at these. They've been hindered because I really should have planted these out a lot earlier, but they've got that beautiful earthy geranium smell, which I like. That's your roots. Not so bad, are they? Yeah. And one good thing about geraniums is you can overwinter them, which is one reason why I like to know the varieties I'm growing, because I just think it's nice. And I'm going to set these, you know, relatively thick, really. I'm not growing these for competition. I'm not growing these to show off. I'm growing them purely because I enjoy it. And that is what a lot of it is about. Certainly very good quality seeds, these, from Mr. Fothergills. No complaints at all. There you go, you can see what I'm doing a bit clearer now. And one of the benefits, again, of growing these in a tub like this is because at the end of the year, if you want to overwinter these, because they're not frost hardy, and if you want to overwinter these, you can simply pick up the pot and put it somewhere to overwinter it. Of course it'll need light, but maybe if you've got a garage with a window in it, something like that, put it on a bench in there. Got to keep them watered, of course. You could wrap them yeah. And we simply proceed to do that. Don't they look beautiful? And of course keeping them watered, but you want to put them somewhere showy, somewhere where people could see them, because these will look beautiful once the flowers come, and hopefully that won't be too long. Okay, so next up for some more geranium setting. Got different varieties here that I grew, and this variety is Geranium Divas Orange F1. It was something like that anyway, but Geranium Divas Orange. But anyway, they're meant to be orange when the flowers come, so I think they could be pretty cool, don't you? Nice healthy flowers. Plants. Of course, like the other ones, I've left them in these cells for too long, but better late than never. And I'm looking at these as a long-term thing, because many people, when they grow these sorts of geraniums, you know, they grow them as an annual, meaning they grow them in the summer, for the summer, into autumn, late spring, summer, into autumn, and then the frost will zap them and that'll be the end of them. But what I intend to do is overwinter them, so might even look at taking cuttings off of them. I just basically want to see what they turn out like, because yes, you can go and purchase geraniums like these. I mean, and I've seen them so cheap now, you know, really cheap, like a big tray of them for like £2, £2, and so the temptation can be to just go and buy them. And I totally understand why people do that, but there's something about, isn't there? Yeah, they look nice. There's something about growing stuff yourself and nurturing it and watching them grow. Geranium Divas Orange. Some pretty cool names abound, isn't there? Yeah. Nice day today. Just out here. Birds singing. Yeah. Get that last one. And one good thing about geraniums is they don't like too much water. I'm not saying that's an excuse to not water them and let them die, but they don't like to be drenched, which at this time of year, at the moment, certainly with the current weather and the heat we're experiencing here, we're not getting much rain, so this is a good thing to grow. There we go, another tray set. Geranium Divas Orange F1. We have a variety here called Horizon White. Look pretty good, don't they? So yeah, the last slot of the Quicksilvers. I'll pop these all in here. As always, I'm not being too specific. I grew this many because it was a fun thing to do at the time, and I wasn't expecting germination rate to be so high, to be honest. Probably about 80%. maybe even higher. I was happy. And I love it when these get them beautiful geranium flowers on them. Like that, look. Then stick it in gardening. Look at that little tiddly one. And in we go. Little bits like that, this compost. I usually just pop them back. So there you go. Next year, or even this year, you could put some geraniums in from seed now, as long as you germinated them and then protected them from frost in the winter. You could, but you could see what you can grow if you put your mind to it. So achieved quite a lot today. Got some container growing on the way. Some, you know, bog standard crops in the form of kale and spinach. Something a bit more exotic in the form of setting some papaya seeds. For those of you out there who like a bit of exotica, myself included. And what else did we do? We planted out the geraniums, so a lot done. Hopefully there's a bit of food for thought there. Enjoy the weather, enjoy your Sunday. See you next time. Oh yes, and if you enjoy my work, and I intend to keep building on this channel, if you enjoy my work, please feel free to like, share and subscribe. Speak soon.